I have cut out the excess that we're going to be using to cut the hijab parts of the cape. So we're going to keep this aside. So this is the main body of the cape. So now all that is left of us to do is just to fold it into two like so. We fold it into two like so, as in lengthwise. If you fold it into two, you're expected to have 42 inches. And then we're going to fold it into two. We're going to fold the wideness, that is the 36 inches, into two like so again. So what is now left of us is to mark out the neck and then to shape it to bring out the shape. So now here at the corner here, if you notice that this place does not have joining, I'm going to do some explanation because it is you can alter it based on your preferences, but this is exactly how I cut mine with that size. So now what I'm going to do now is to mark out, is to open up the neckline and then to shape it. The width, that is the width, and the neck width I normally use is 5 inches. So now according to my scale, my 5 inches is 1.67. Let's just round it up to 2 inches. Let me use my marker to make it bolder. Neck depth, the front neck depth I normally use is also 5 inches. So I'm also going to mark out 2 inches. I'm going to give it a curve like so. And then the back neckline I normally use is 2 inches, but sometimes I cut it for both back and front neckline to be equal. That is neck depth, I mean, to be 5 inches. But I noticed that for those with narrow shoulders, that their shoulders is not that wide, it might be falling off their shoulder. So I decided to reduce the back neck depth. So now I normally use the neck depth of 2 inches for the back, which gave me, for the scaling, it gave me 0.67. So I'm going to just round it up to 0.75 on my tape rule here. So I'm going to give it a curve like so. Let me explain the concept of this neckline. It is actually like you are cutting the normal neckline of abaya, like you're just putting a hole inside a fabric to create neckline, like boo-boo neckline. So the neck width is usually 5 inches. The front neck depth is also 5 inches, and the back neck depth is 2 inches. So for the shaping of the side here, I'm going to mark down 15 inches according to my scaling. My 15 inches is 5 inches down here. So I'm now going to come in with let's say 1.5 inches or 2 inches. So let me just come in by 2 inches. So now what I am going to do is that I'm going to curve it like so. And normally this is exactly how I cut it. So I use freehand. So I don't know how it's going to be for you. Like so. But you know here this place is sharp, and I normally don't make it to be sharp, and I don't make it to be sharp. I just make it like the curve is going to transition into this place. So I just give it a curve like so. You see what I did? And you don't want to come in too deep here, because you also want the cape to have shape, but you don't want it to be too thin or too narrow. So now what we are going to do is just to cut it out. So we are going to first of all cut the back neckline, because the back neckline is not as deep as the front neckline. After cutting that out, we will now need, okay, let me shape it before I open it up. I need to cut out here. I need to cut it out like so. Okay, so here we have it cut out. Now we need to shape the front neckline also. So you just open it up like so, fold it lengthwise, open it up, fold it lengthwise, and then cut out the front neckline. I hope this is clear. Because it is because the paper is sort of hard. So now I have cut the front neckline also. So now before you proceed to sewing, you will just need to notch the front. You will notch the front. You give the front a notch like this. I always like my sewing to be well aligned, and if you need alignments, notching is part of what you need to do. You notch all the strategic points. Let me notch the back too. Now I'm going to notch the back. So now if you want to sew it after you have finished cutting the hijab that you are going to attach to the neckline, you have a choice of either just attaching it straight, or you just give the front neckline a little bit of. While we are sewing this is going to, because this paper is kind of hard, so it is going to be difficult to demonstrate, but you just give the front a little bit of pleat. So we are done with the body of the cape. Now we need to cut the hijab that we're going to be attaching to the cape. To cut the hijab, we already have the the excess that we cut out from the fabric that we use for the body. So for the hijab, I normally cut, that is at the back, the length of the back without the cap. I normally cut 18 inches with all the sewing allowances. So my 18 inches divided by 3 here, if I scale it, I have 6 inches. Let me just make a straight line like so. I have 6 inches. And for the face opening, as in for the front here, I normally measure 12 inches. So if I scale down 12 inches by 3, I have 4 here. Then you need to pay attention here. This place you have to be very careful, because if you did not cut it right, I have made the mistake. The hijab is going to be tight at the neck, that whoever you made the hijab for will not be comfortable wearing it. And part of a perfect garment is that, apart from the fact that it is beautiful, it is nice, it also needs to be comfortable. So now here you will just angle your tape rule like so. You have to angle it as wide as possible, and then measure down 6 inches. After cutting this, I'm going to show you with an actual fabric, because this is going to be so small and it might not really bring out the picture I need to show you. So you measure 6 inches down, which after scaling is going to give us 2 inches. So you just measure 2 inches like so, then you just curve it a little bit like this, and then you will now connect it with the back like so. You see, like, it is actually very easy. So let's cut this out. Then after that, you just notch it and then proceed to cutting the cap. So you see, you proceed to cutting the cap. Before I move on to cutting the cap, if you want to attach this, obviously this base here, the base of the hijab is wider than the neckline. What you are going to do is that after you sew it in a straight line like this, after sewing it in a straight line with 1/2 inch sewing allowance, you will now fold it. You will notch the back, you fold it into 2, notch it at the sides, notch it at the sides, and then when you want to attach it to the body, that is the cape, you will now just give it little pleats. That is all. The notching is to make sure that the front is where it's supposed to be, the back is also where it's supposed to be, and the side is also where it's supposed to be, so that your cape will not be facing front and the hijab will be doing one kind on your customer's head. So now I'm going to use an actual fabric to demonstrate this hijab again and also cut the cap for clarity. Before I do that, if you want to after attaching the hijab to the cape, all you need to do that is left of the hijab is just to hem it all round, because it is actually open. You just hem it all round or weave it all round, however you like is how you are going to finish it. And then I advise that before you sew all your hijabs, you do some kind of finishing. If it is weaving that you are going to weave it, which is you are going to serge it all round, you serge the neck all round, or after you are finished sewing it, you just do the serging. So now I'm going to use an actual fabric to demonstrate this hijab now and also cut the cap.